Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, are we live now?
Yeah, I guess we weren't live before. I was looking at it on my phone.
Oh.
Okay. Well,
My
where'd you
camera
go?
turned off.
Oh my goodness. So
here we
guys,
go. My camera turned off.
we've been having technical difficulties. We've literally been talking for 10 minutes, not realizing that we weren't live. Oh no.
Whoops.
Okay, well, I guess we start over.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome. Hi, guys. We are here to discuss the September book of the month for the Paperback Book Club. If you aren't following our social media, the links are in the description box down below. They're the best way for us to communicate with you guys, the books that we're reading, and when the live shows are. So definitely go follow our social media. And so this month's book is Spellbook of the Lost and Found by Moira Fowley-Doyle. So we'll be discussing that. First, we'll do non-spoiler thoughts, and then we'll move into spoiler things. So if you haven't read the book, you won't get spoiled, and we'll let you know when we're going to start spoilers. So hi, I'm Ebani. You're on my channel. My channel is Butterflies on My Bookshelf.
And I'm Anne from Irish Book Nerd.
Yep. And okay, so we already talked about some stuff, but I guess we'll just repeat ourselves. So,
yeah,
did you want?
We'll probably come up with new stuff to talk about anyway.
True. You want to give us a brief summary, Anne?
Yeah. Okay. So we are following a group of girls. Not really a group. Girls who end up finding this magical spell book, and things start going missing after a party, and they're wondering what the hell is going on, and they find the spell book, and things start to go wrong from there, and they meet this very mysterious group that have turned up in their town, and just there. It's a very mysterious story, so I don't want to give much away, but that's kind of the main gist of the story and what I knew going in. So yeah.
Yep. So yeah, we kind of have like 3 different groups of characters. So we have Olive and Rose, and then another group we have, what were their names, Anne?
Ash, Laurel, and Holly.
Okay. And then we also had Roman and Hazel and Ivy.
Yeah, so, that's it.
Okay. Yeah, there were a lot of characters in this book, which was my biggest grievance reading this, is I got them confused, and I will probably get their names confused during this live show, so I'm really sorry. But there was just so many, and it was hard to keep track of them.
Yeah, it really was. And I also felt like the characters weren't very distinct from each other, which kind of added to the frustration of who's talking, what's going on. And yeah, some of the characters were just very similar, so it was really easy to get confused between them, unless you had to like flick back and see the title of talking or like their point of view. But yeah, there was a lot of characters to trying to wrap your head around, and then like things about like the missing boys and all side characters as well. It was just got very, very heavy with the characters very quickly in the story.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it was a little confusing at times. One thing that we talked about before we realized we weren't live was there was a lot of really good representation in this book. We had LGBTQ plus characters. We had a character who was half Irish and half Indian, and we also had a character who had trouble hearing, so it was disability rep as well. And that was something that I really appreciated throughout this book.
Yeah, 100%. It was really refreshing too, because it was just kind of added into the story. It wasn't a huge thing. It was just, oh yeah, I like boys, I like girls, that sort of thing. And then like just her explaining about her hearing aid and things like that. It was just very easily story, which I really, really enjoyed, compared to like some stories or sexuality and trying to come out to their, like, all these people knew that this person was bisexual or a lesbian or whatever it was, which was really, really refreshing to see in this sort of story.
Another thing, a specific scene that I really liked was this part where Olive's younger sister Chloe complains about how their dad always reads them poetry in the morning, but it's always by male poets. And so she was like, that's anti-feminist and you're part of the patriarchy. And she's just like going off on him. And I was like, I laughed so hard. That was such a great moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a really
yeah, it was so. And then in that moment, you do see Chloe and Olive actually connect a little bit more and realize they're actually very similar. They're both feminists. They want their dad speaking more like Sylvia Plath and all those poets, like women poets, which I thought was really, really cool.
Yep, it was definitely really good. Do you have other like non-spoiler thoughts, Anne?
Yeah, I just wanted to really talk about some of the triggers in the story, because I know a lot of people have trigger warnings, and it's probably best if we actually let them know. There's like rape, drug and alcohol abuse, there's mention of familial death, there's a character whose grandfather has dementia, self-harm with ritual, that sort of thing. So just be aware of those before going in. Like, none of the scenes are very graphic or anything, but it's just they're triggered by that. Some forms of racism towards Rose, as she is a half Indian, half Irish young girl. And just, there's just some trigger warnings there that I thought that we should let them know just in case. I also really like themes. So there was like themes of grief and all the LGBTQIA plus rep. There's addiction kind of problems within the story too, which is really, really explored very well. And I think that's it.
Did you read this book physically, or how did you read it?
Yeah.
Physically?
I read it physically.
Okay. I read it on audiobook, and I gotta say, not the route to go, because the characters are Irish, the narrator spoke in an Irish accent the whole time. It is kind of hard to understand, at least for me, because I'm not used to hearing an accent quite as much. And so I definitely would recommend reading it physically if you aren't used to listening to an Irish accent. Yeah. If I had known,
well, as you can tell, I'm Irish from my accent.
Yeah. It's just like audiobooks, like I like to listen to them at like 2 times speed, and it's too fast with an accent, you know?
Yeah. I also kind of felt like there wasn't much Irishness to it, if that's a word. Like, I read this and I didn't feel it to me. It felt like there was mentions of like Dublin and other places in Ireland, but it just did not feel like Ireland, if that makes sense. Like, there was no slang used that we'd use in Ireland and stuff like that, which I just felt was a bit weird, because it was set in Ireland, so there wasn't really much Irish euphemisms. Or I know in some books there's like little, like the actual language in Irish, like there was no Irish circle throughout the story and things like that, which I kind of felt a bit disappointed with. But again, that's the advice. But yeah, I kind of feel like if I didn't know this author was actually Irish, and there was no mentions of like Dublin or the other towns in Ireland, I wouldn't have guessed that this is based in Ireland.
Yeah, they didn't have very many like telltale signs of it taking place in that country, because like I don't know, if I hadn't been listening to the audiobook and hearing an Irish accent the whole time, I probably would have thought it was American, like, because that's my like that's where I live, so like that's where I would have pictured
Yeah.
it, you know. But
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, any final thoughts, or should we move into spoilers?
I think we should move into spoilers.
Okay. Okay, guys, spoilers are going to be starting right now, so if you don't want to be spoiled, if you haven't read this book, you might want to leave, but definitely come back once you have read it, and then you can hear our spoilery thoughts as well. Okay, so hopefully all the people who don't want to hear it have left. Do you want to start, Anne?
Hopefully. Yeah. Okay. Where should I start?
Yeah, there's a lot.
There was so this I have a lot. So first off, this really, really atmospheric. Basically based in a forest. Everyone was like, everything happened within the forest, which is really tense. Kind of gave me a little bit of a scared feeling, and a lot of autumnal vibes, even though it was in summer, which is weird. Like it was a really, really slow start, so we were kind of. Yeah, but kind of, I think it would have been better if it was set in autumn, where like the crunching leaves and the darker weather and like things like that. But yeah, very autumnal vibes, very atmospheric, which I really, really enjoyed. There was also a really, really slow start. The majority of the book was quite slow, to be fair. Up until like 200 pages, things actually started to move. Yeah, so like they go to the party. Rose or Olive wakes up really hungover and has no idea what's going on. Can't find her Rose. Rose goes missing for 3 days, and Olive can't get in touch with her. But Olive doesn't really do anything when her friend goes missing. Like Rose just kind of disappears for like 2 or 3 days, and Olive does nothing. She keeps messaging her, and if it was in my situation, I'd go and try and find her. Like I'd go to her house, I'd call the police, you know, that sort of thing, get in touch with her if she's okay, which I kind of felt like nothing really happened. And then Rose just kind of turns up again and is like, oh, I'm back. And no really answers for it until like quite toward like about the middle of the story. But yeah, I just kind of felt that was a bit weird at the start. What about you?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, especially with later in the book when the sister goes missing and they're like freaking out and like searching everywhere and, you know, doing what you would normally think to do when someone's missing, but like Olive didn't do that when her best friend was missing. So like, I don't know, it kind of feels like rude to Rose that she was like, oh, she's fine, you know, but like her sister goes missing and then she's like freaking out about it.
Yeah, and then like Rose like ends up skipping school a bunch, and like she hears that she gets kicked out of her German class because she lost her cool with one of the guys. And like Olive doesn't even try and like get an answer. She just kind of leaves Rose to it, where you can actually see Rose is really, really struggling, and we do find out what happened with why she's away and why she's with the whole. She's not sure if it was raped or if it was consensual because she was really, really drunk. And yeah, I just felt like it was kind of brushed over a little bit, which I didn't really like. But yeah, it just kind of didn't sit really well with me.
Yeah. How did you feel about the part when we learned that the diary pages were Olive's mom's diary pages? It kind of felt like forced, in my opinion.
Don't even. Yeah. So as we know, like we're following 3 different groups of people, and there's no hints or like anything to tell us that Holly, Ash, and Laurel are in the past, like 30, 40 years in the past. It just felt like they were all on the same. I felt like there could have been some more hints and nods towards the 80s or whatever time period it was, to kind of give the reader a little bit of a hint and for readers to be thinking about it, but also when it like comes out that it's Olive's mum and blah blah blah, the reader was like, oh, okay, cool, not what the heck? Where did that come from? I felt very confused and very like really shocked by it, but not in a way that is you're supposed to be shocked by, you know what I mean? Like an actual twist in the story. You see the hints leading up to it, and then it's revealed. And oh my gosh! But with this one, it was like, really? Where did that come from?
Yeah, it felt so forced, and I was like, oh, okay, these diary pages are 30 years old now. Cool, okay. Especially since we were getting a few scenes here and there from what's her face? I forget her name, but you know what I mean? It's like at the very beginning, I think we had this scene where they're in school and then the diary got stolen by one of their classmates, and like there's nothing to indicate, unless I missed it, but there's nothing to indicate that like that happened a long time ago.
Yeah, like I just felt like they might have been a little bit or like, because we find out that they're using different names for each other, and I was like, okay, they're going by different names within their little circle of friends, and like no one knows who these actual people are because they use their own nicknames for each other. And I was like, okay, maybe they will figure out who these girls are and like kind of figure out what's going on with these other three girls and try and stop what's happening. But no, it's like 30 years in the past. And I just felt really confused because like Ash was being seen by Olive and Rose and Hazel and all those other people that were in the present time, and I was just really, really like going like, what the heck? Like they were seeing these people, they were like witnessing some stuff, and then all of a sudden it's in the past and they're like ghosts. I don't understand.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. How do you feel about Roman?
Yeah, it was really weird.
I kept waiting for. Do you want me to continue?
Rowan was he just sorry.
Go ahead and talk. Sorry, we're like interrupting.
Rowan was just I don't know. I didn't really feel anything for kind of a character that was there, fell in love with insta love situation with Olive. I understand Lane was getting picked on by one of the guys in work, but like he just kept turning towards a violent situation, which I didn't really like. But he's young, he's angry, he's got a lot going on. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't really feel anything for him. I didn't think anything of him really.
I kept like waiting. I don't know. I feel like the story hinted at the idea that he was like, I don't want to say not real, but like not who he said he was. I felt like it hinted at that, and I kept like waiting for like some sort of like plot twist or like bomb to drop about it, and then like nothing happened, and I'm like, oh, he's just a normal person. Okay.
Yeah, that's what at the start. That's what I thought it was going to be him, but to be Jude, who's a character who'd up in the middle of the story and just kind of hung out with Ash, Laurel, and Holly in the forest and weird stuff with them. And it was hinting at him, but I was like, but Olive and Rose and Hazel and Rowan and Ivy came in contact with Jude. Like, why is Olive's mum mentioning like he's lost everything, stay away from him, that sort of thing? And it's like, but they've never met him. Like, who are they talking about? And really weird character. You know the scene when which one is it? When Laurel sneaks out to meet him in the forest. And then there's like this sort of steamy sort of scene. Like they almost have sex. I felt really, really cool with that scene because Laurel, Ash, and Holly, they read very, very young compared to the rest of the characters. And I just felt really, really comfortable. Like, they felt so young compared to Olive and Rose. I think Olive and Rose are like 17, whereas the other three girls kind of felt like 14, 15. So that scene really made me uncomfortable. But yeah, what do you think?
No, I totally agree. They did feel younger, and so yeah, I kind of like was like, oh, you know, you're just like the cringy almost feeling. Yeah, that scene was.
Yeah. And like, is he a ghost? Is he a demon? Or is he just like, some sick guy who like so many questions that I just never got answered with this story, and it's frustrating me that I don't know the answer.
Yeah, it definitely had a lot of like the ending almost closed up too fast for it to like tie together all the loose ends.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, it was a bit rushed.
Yeah. And like, supposedly Jude is, there's so many characters' names, oh my gosh. Hazel and Rowan's father.
Yeah.
And he never, like, and when he's the young boy with the he can never leave the forest. He never leaves the forest. But then all of a sudden, when Ash runs away with him and has Hazel, and he can leave the forest. Like,
yeah.
How does that work? I don't know. Jude is just a really weird addition to me that I just felt like wasn't needed.
Just another character that we couldn't remember.
Yeah.
I also think like the part where like Hazel thought that she killed their mom, like with the lighter, and like, you know, she set the house on fire, and then she didn't. I was like, what? I don't know. It just was like confusing.
Yeah. Yeah, like as soon as the door closed, she wakes up, realizes there's a fire starting, grabs Jude's boots, breaks out the window, and then runs away. It's like, why wouldn't you go after your kids?
Yeah,
I know she got in touch with Ivy's mother, and Ivy's mother brought her to rehab, but we never, like, why didn't she go after her kids? Why did she leave her kids at 17, go squatting in some house? That's really, really dangerous. I understand that you're an alcoholic and you're really, really struggling, but go after your kids, explain to your kids, I'm going to go get help.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was, I don't know, there was so much that happened
it's just
that didn't feel needed. It didn't feel like it enhanced the story at all. I was just confused by it a lot of the time.
Yeah, it just kind of added drama. Didn't really need to. Like the whole part where Hazel admits, oh, I think I killed mom and dad, and Rowan is like, oh, you told me that like 2 days after it happened when you were really drunk. And she's like, I've been struggling with this for like whatever how many years it is, been drinking really heavily, thinking I'm going to become like our mom, and you wouldn't tell me that I told you this? That's kind of cruel.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff, like conflicts in here that would have been simply solved by communication. Like, so, like that
Yeah.
scene, like,
Yeah.
just so much stuff, like, if you guys just talked like normal people, you'd be fine.
Yeah. And I also felt like the conflict with Rowan and Hazel when both were in love with E. And Hazel was like, "Oh, you promised you wouldn't do anything with her," and blah blah blah. And because they were in the forest together or whatever during the party at the start. And then it comes out that they were actually creating the spell before anyone else did the spell and like ruined everything. And then yeah, it's just really, really confusing. It kind of went in circles. So Rowan and Ivy did the spell on the party where everything started to sing. But like years before that, their mum goes into rehab, and supposedly the spell made her go into rehab.
Yeah, it was
I don't
confusing.
understand.
Yeah.
Really confusing.
I think after talking with you, I'm going to lower my rating. I think I gave it a 4 stars, but I might lower it to a 3 or a 3.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I didn't realize how.
Yeah, I came into the story. Yeah. Yeah. Like it was just really confusing. And I like came into this live show hoping that our conversation will help me figure out a rating. Because I'm like, I don't know what to rate this. I don't know if I enjoyed this or not. But yeah.
Do you have a closer idea now that we're 26 minutes in?
I'm thinking maybe a 3-star, 2.5 maybe. Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to have to sit on it a little bit more and kind of think about what we're discussing, because as I'm discussing it, I'm actually like more things is like coming into my head and going, oh, wait, yeah, that was weird, or oh, that didn't make sense. So maybe 2.5 or a 3.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like after I finished it, I felt like, yeah, that was kind of fun, you know? But like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, it doesn't make sense. Or at least for me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it doesn't. Like I was like, oh yeah, that was a pretty cool story. It was interesting. I kept reading. I did think I was going to DNF it at the like 64 page mark because I was just really, really bored and had no idea what was going on. But I kept reading because I knew we actually wanted to have things to discuss. So I just kept reading to enjoy it after the 200 mark. And I think that's a bit indicative of the story. It wasn't grabbing my attention up until 200 pages, and normally I DNF it way before then if I wasn't enjoying it. And then sitting here and actually talking about it, and things are kind of clicking into place that actually I didn't really enjoy this story.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I was so bored at the beginning. I had no idea what was going on. And yeah, I probably would have DNF'd it too if we weren't doing this for a book club. So yeah, it just it wasn't even like good enough.
I don't know. I just felt.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Like, it wasn't like, even though.
I don't think we've said many good things about it.
Yeah. No, definitely not. I feel like the thing I enjoyed most about it was the like atmosphere.
Yeah, the atmosphere really did kind of give it a spooky kind of vibe. You can't give a book a high rating just for atmosphere. You kind of kind of had to connect with the characters, understand the story, and I still have no idea what the heck happened.
Yeah, it was really confusing.
If anyone else knows, let us know, because I'm still really confused.
Do you have any last minute things?
Why does my camera keep turning off?
Technical difficulties.
It keeps turning off. I don't know why.
Do you have any last minute things you want to discuss?
Steamy. Just to let people know, there's a few steamy scenes, but it's nothing like graphic or anything, because I know some people are really uncomfortable with sex scenes and stuff. And it's like a little bit of kissing, touching, things like that, but then it kind of fades to black, which is fine. I think it's a bit on the older side of YA. Because of those scenes and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't not recommend this book. I just don't think this book was for me. I'm definitely a more fantasy reader with like everything answered for me. And if it's a series, then obviously you're not going to get all the answers in the first book. But this one alone, I kind of felt like I didn't get the answers I needed. But I know some people do like the ambiguous endings and having unanswered questions and stuff. So I definitely don't not recommend it. Just
yeah, I agree. I'm more of a contemporary reader, so this again was a little bit out of my comfort zone, but it's not that I hated it. I just didn't like it a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, should we talk about next month?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, if you didn't know, we do polls on our Twitter and our Instagram every month. So make sure you go follow our Twitter and our Instagram. They're in the description box down below. They are the place to be if you want information about this book club. It's how we communicate with you guys. So yeah, go follow us there, because we do polls every month to decide on the next month's book. And so we did a poll for October, and the book that won the poll was Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. So this is the book that we're going to be reading in October. And we will have our live show on Anne's channel sometime towards late October.
Yep.
Honestly, I don't know much about this book because I like reading synopses beforehand. But I know it takes place in London.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a historical sort of book. I've seen a lot of hype over this book. Everyone seems to love this series, so I'm actually really, really excited to do this. I'm going to get the book from the library, so I'm really, really excited to actually read it. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I've had this book on my shelves for a while, and I'm like, I need to read this. Like, it's been on here for like a year.
Yeah, it's on my TBR for so long, like since I started BookTube last year. So much about it, and now we get to read it, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so I think that about wraps it up for today's live show. Yeah. Like I said, make sure you are following our social medias. They are where you vote, where we let you know what's happening, just all this stuff. Go follow. And like I said before, obviously you're on my channel, so like subscribe if you haven't. And Anne's channel is in the description box down below, and you will need it for next month's live show because we will be doing it on her channel. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching and participating with our live show. And you want to say goodbye?
Thanks so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.